All right, folks, welcome back to the Stampede, and we're continuing our tour today through the CTE Center, and we're in here today with Mr. Doug Thompson, here for the Welding program. You guys will see here in a minute, these guys have got it going on down here. We are just blown away. If you have kids in this school and they're not in this class, you are missing out, and I can say that because I'm sitting right here with Doug, but it's great. Doug, I wanted to ask you first before they're going to see here in a minute everything that you're doing, but when you're coming in and you're, as a student coming in here, when you leave out when you're done, it's setting right up for a job, correct?
That's right. We've been working on and trying to micro-define this program now for about 20 years. And when a student comes in here, they come in here as a junior, and they don't know what they want to do. Nor did we.
Sure.
But it gives them an opportunity. We go through, it's kind of like an intro. They'll come in, we'll learn about welding, and then we'll start welding in the shop. And you can tell pretty quick what their interests are, and we kind of go from there. Then through their senior year, it's 2 semesters. So they're going through it's a AWS, American Welding Society Sense program, nationally known. Accredited program with 9 different modules, and that explains all the different processes of welding and all the different processes of cutting, and they have to pass these with a certain grade. They also get their OSHA cards. They also go through a H&V training program, which is called the Six Sigma,
right?
And they can get their yellow belt. And so what I try to do over the life of the students that are here, juniors and seniors, is when they get ready to graduate, I tell them, you're a commodity. You've got to sell yourself to industry in order to make good money. So you've got a portfolio. Our business teachers, they do a very nice job of preparing a resume, and we include all these certifications that they've gotten here and their OSHA training and everything. And they present this to employers. And they can go right in. I'm not discrediting any kind of colleges.
Sure.
College is good, for some people. But when these students graduate from welding, they can go into industries, making $40,000 to $60,000 a year.
That's awesome.
Very easy.
So what have your previous students, what kind of jobs have they went to? I know you keep up with them and still talk to them. Where, coming straight out of school, wherever they went?
Well, what I ask the seniors, and I'm already starting to ask, this time of year, February's here, February, March, April, May, and boom, there you are. So now, what do you want to do? Do you want to travel? You want to see the world? Do you want to stay local? Do you want to, you want to drive to Roanoke or whatever? So I've made connections with a lot of companies throughout the New River Valley, Roanoke Valley, and we've got students that are working in as far north as Buchanan or down Altech Industries. They make bucket trucks for AEP or Citizens. Right. You probably got some
big company.
Yeah, you've got some Altech booms out there probably running over there. So they're working down there. And they actually called me last week. I had 2 calls last week. You have any guys? You have any people that's graduated that we could hire? That's a very reputable company.
Sure.
Very good benefits. You come down into Roanoke, we've got many that work for the Steel Dynamics, a steel mill. We've got some that work for the railroad, Freight Car America, that build the box cars.
Right.
We've got them working at a place called New Millennium. They build bar joists over in Salem. Gosh, those guys make a load of money. It's high production.
Sure.
We've got them at work, at Volvo truck plant. Imperial right beside them is a big fabricating company that's got our kids working in it.
Right.
Thomas Fabrications just under the mountain down here. Many of them. Worley Machine and Tool down there has got my students working down there. It's on and on. They're everywhere.
So they're not competing for one company. I mean, there's so many options for them. They can go, like I said, worldwide if they want to.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, and then, you're talking about worldwide. We talked about it a little bit a while ago. Local 10 pipe fitters and steam fitters union. 15 to 20 of them working there, and all of them are over $60,000 a year. I know that I heard one figure the other day from one we was talking about a little while ago. Made 175,000 last year, and he's not 30 years old yet.
Yeah, that's great.
So, you know, they make more money than I do, but I'm too old to travel. But
Right.
but you know, Johnson Controls out of Roanoke, they've got a lot of those guys and girls. We got one girl that works for Local 10. She's a nuclear repair welder.
Right.
Her and her boyfriend travel together. It's pretty neat.
That is
Both
cool.
of them came from this school.
That's awesome.
And they're like, sometimes they're like gypsies. They've got RVs. They hook them behind their Dodge trucks, diesels, and they travel, and that's the way they live. And and then if they get tired, they come off the road and they take 2 months off.
Right.
Because they can afford to.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's great.
So that's kind of explains our industry.
Yeah. So one of the guys mentioned down a while ago, the AWS, the Welding Society. Tell us a little bit about that.
American Welding Society Student Chapter. We used to be Skills USA, and you've probably heard of them, but I kind of wanted something more directed towards our students. I'm a member of the section out of Roanoke of American Welding Society that supports this student chapter. We started out, I think the first year well, first of all, let me back up and say that you have to apply with American Welding Society to start a chapter. You have to have a board of officers that actually meets. They meet every month, and they decide, you know, we've got to do so much community service, donate so much money, and you know, it's a lot of criteria to it. So, you know, it kind of took off and ran. We went from, I think the first year we did that, we had about 20 students in the AWS chapter. I think last I figured we're at 72.
Wow.
I asked them in Florida back in August, when I had to call them about the chapter, I says, are there any chapters this big as far as high school? And she said, no, y'all are the largest in the United States.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then you don't see a whole lot of high schools doing them. I've been talking to some. Giles, I've got a lot of teacher friends throughout the different areas, Giles County, and these guys are starting to want to get involved, so we're working with them to help them get student chapters started there as well.
That's great. Now, do the other schools in this area, do they have the welding programs as well?
Some, I guess, you know, they're technical centers, you know.
Right.
Like Botetourt's got a technical center that covers many high schools. Same thing with Roanoke Technical Center. That's inner city schools, all of them. You got A.R. Burton over in Salem that covers Hidden Valley, Salem High School.
Right.
So they've got a lot of coming in there. As far as high schools, not much. You've got agriculture programs that do a little bit of welding, but most of it's in technical schools. You know, Burton's got a good program. They lean more towards auto body welding and that type of thing, and he competes. He just won the championship in Las Vegas here a couple weeks ago or so. I don't know, maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
Very successful program down there. Botetourt right now, they've got actually had to hire another welding teacher because, you know, they're right there with Altech.
Sure.
A lot of industry on that side of Roanoke, so they're in a good location. They got a lot of recently got a lot of government granted money, and they added on to their shop down there. So
that's great. So now you also have an adult class that you're teaching as well, right?
that's right. We actually start Monday. On a couple Fridays ago, when me and my wife decided we was going to tackle this, or I was, and she's right there. She's my right hand gal, but. We decided to put it out there. We put it on Facebook, and from Friday to Wednesday, the class was full at 15. Just from, you know, the shares, we had like 60-some shares. We had great people around here. They loved the Floyd group, and they were all sharing it and promoting it and doing a real good job. Ladina, she does a great job promoting. But at this, you know, and that starts Monday and runs for 8 weeks. It's Mondays and Wednesdays from 4 to 6:30. But I ended up having enough, and starting in April, I've got another 15 already booked for that.
Wow,
So I actually ended up, wanted 15, got 30.
Wow.
So,
are you teaching just the basics? Are you starting out, or kind of what is the class going to
it's very diverse. I've got some ladies that signed up, 2 ladies that signed up that are wanting to do more art welding, yard art and that type of thing. And I've got 3, maybe 4 that companies are sending in here to get certified.
Right.
So I've got them all in one room.
Yeah.
So I've got to be, moving around and doing different things. So when a class first starts, we'll all meet in here Monday, and I'll kind of get more of a feel of who is looking for what.
Right. That is awesome, man. I can speak for the whole community here. We really appreciate what you're doing. It's great. This is a great program. Sending kids out ready to work, and like I said, not taking away anything from going to college, but college may not be for everybody.
Right.
And you're sending them right out ready to get a great job. That is awesome. We really appreciate what you're doing.
Thanks.
And we're going to go to a break here, but when we come back, we're going to go down into the shop and check out everything that's got going on. It's very exciting. So we'll be right back in just a few.
RMS has over 25 years of experience helping people turn their homeownership dreams into reality. We're ready whenever you are. Just click on Apply to get started. When it comes to meeting your home financing needs, you can count on RMS to guide you home.
Yeah, I think so. Not picking up.
Yeah, see all that surface rust? Yeah. That's what you want to clean up, and then get that bad rust off the backside.
Talk, test.
When we go around, you can film that welding, but you don't look at it, okay? It'll burn your eyes. You'll feel it tonight. It won't burn you through the camera. So yeah, Andrew, this is Mr. Flincham here. He's working on a weld test. This is a national certification test. The first one they've got to do this semester. And he's right in the middle of this process. He's got to, he'll weld it up full, he'll grind it down flush, he'll put it in a saw and cut out weld specimens, and we'll take it in here and bend it on a bend tester to see if he passes. And all this is by the American Welding Society National Code. When he finishes and he passes this, then I'll certify him, he'll get paperwork that'll follow him the rest of his life. And if he goes out in the world and welds, or if he don't, he'll have certifications that prove that he can do this job.
Wow. So what is the test? Are they testing the strength of it?
Yeah.
The weld?
Yeah, it is the strength. It's, when we bend it, actually I've got Lonnie in here he's waiting to bend his, and I wanted y'all to, to be able to see an actual bend.
Right.
So when we bend these basically in the shape of a horseshoe, based on the structural steel code that all companies that build steel buildings or football stadiums or anything, they all go by the same structural steel code. It's called a D1.1, which I'm certified to certify people. So this code only allows a certain amount of opening or imperfections in their weld or something like that. So
what's he cleaning out there? The groove there, is that where the weld's going to be, or is that?
Yeah, that's the groove. If you could get me one of those tests out of the shelf that's not been welded in, there's one back there. So yeah, welding rods come in different sizes and they have different purposes. And in this class, these students will learn exactly what all these numbers mean. So they'll know which rod they need for the job.
Right.
You don't see that a lot in industry.
Sure.
People come right out of high school and get a job welding. They just know how to weld. A lot of them don't know how. That's what we do in the classroom. We spend a lot of time in there as well, learning what you're welding and learning what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
So he's cleaning out his weld right now, which has got a flux on the outside that turns into a slag. So he wants to get rid of all that. Can you hear him? Sorry. JC here. Come here and show him, JC. Come here. This is it's a butt weld, and this is the groove opening. It's got to be 30 degrees. Which is a 60-degree inclusive angle. It's open, so that when we weld it, it actually welds from the back side as well. This test could qualify you for certain size pipes where you can't get inside to weld something. So they're doing a really tough test. You don't even see this kind of test in colleges much.
Right. Wow.
So they're doing the extreme. We learn how to do it right. JC here, she's passed hers and getting ready to pass her vertical too. So she's on her second one.
That's great.
Thank you. All right. So like I was telling you earlier, this machine right here is a bend tester, and everything in here is by code. It has to be to certain dimensions, and that's national codes. I can't alter that at all. And what we do is, Lonnie, if you remember earlier we had the plate that Joey was working on earlier. We cut out half-inch wide or material, and the weld is actually in the middle here. You can't see it. You can see a little bit of traces of it there.
Right.
And then Lonnie brought it over and put it in the milling machine and brought it down to that tolerance I was telling you about, plus or minus 5 thousandths. So what we'll do, we'll put these in there and bend them, and we'll see how they do. Which test is this, Lonnie? This is your...
TG.
This is overhead? 2G. Gas metal arc welding. Yep. Or you hear is MIG welding. Now Lonnie's pretty much certified out in stick welding. He's really worked hard in the class.
That's great.
We won't tell him if you fail or not. No kidding. No stress here, right? Got it. All right, good. So Lonnie passed. You can see some little places in the welds here, but the code tells me that anything less than 1/8 of an inch in length will pass. So that's actually a pretty good weld there.
Nice job, Lonnie.
Make sure I get the paperwork. I'm terrible at it. It's a destructive test. You got non-destructive and destructive testing in welding. Non-destructive would be X-ray, ultrasonic testing, those type of things where they actually X-ray welds. But, if you go into the nuclear field, I told you about about 15 or 20 of our guys working for the union.
Right.
Their welds are X-rayed because they're welding on nuclear. I mean, it cannot have a leak.
Right.
It's bad news. So a bend test is not sufficient for that. Structural steel, what these guys are training for here right now, is the bend test. You've got other destructive testings. You got the tensile pull, where they actually pull against, and that checks tensile pull is pounds per square inch. So that's another way of testing. And they've got nick brake testing, that type of thing. So it depends on the application, what kind of testing you do, and that code will tell you exactly what you want to do. I spent about 1.5 years and $10,000 of money to get to where I could do this.
Right.
So, all right. No. All the letters are done in there.
Okay.
Basically, what you're seeing now is a machine shop. It's not part of my curriculum. I was a machinist. I went to college to be a machinist and done it for about 5 years, so it's kind of my passion. So I've incorporated into the welding program, especially when they cut out these bend tests. I make them come in here on this machine behind you, this Supermax, and they'll have to machine them down and hold like 5 thousandths of an inch tolerance on them in thickness. And that teaches them how to, work with calipers, work with decimals, and changing fractions to decimals, that type of thing. And I've had, since we've been fortunate enough to have this equipment, which most of it come from New River College.
Right.
I've had students to go on to New River, take interest in it, and go to New River and pursue machine technology. And some of them are working in very good jobs. A lot of them are working very good jobs.
So you said Supermax. So what is it? It looks like a drill press.
It looks like a drill press. It's called a milling machine. Okay. A drill press is lighter duty. This thing is heavy. See how all of this mass keeps a close tolerance, no vibration. It's all semi-automatic. It's all, a lot of it's controlled with the buttons over here. And some of these levers here, it does its own. It travels on its own. It moves by itself. And that's the reason it's called a semi-automatic machine. So, these guys can learn controls this way. They can, by the press, you don't have to turn the cranks. They can run everything here. You can see, they learn, if you remember X and Y axis in school?
Right, yeah.
So everything they do is controlled X and Y axis on the table. And even more is the Z move, which is up and down. So basically that's, it gives them some opportunity to learn a little bit about machine technology. This machine was donated by Plastics One out of Roanoke. We haven't got into running it yet. It's a fully automated machine. It's, that's a $100,000 machine new. So
what does it do?
same thing as that. It's just
Okay.
it's got different tooling you put up in here, and once you program this, it'll know to drill a hole. It'll go up here and grab a tap and tap threads inside of it, and it'll do it all. And then you just change out parts, and you can do 100 parts in no time.
Right. Wow.
Mass production kind of thing. We were able to obtain a grant last year, matching grant. So this machine here, with the software, the computer, and everything, was right at $20,000, $19,900 some dollars actually. And so we was able to get a $10,000 grant, and the school board voted and decided to match that grant for us to be able to buy this machine. So we were real
great.
fortunate last year.
So what is this guy? What do we got here?
This is a plasma cutter, fully automated, CNC. It's like AutoCAD. The engineering department up here with Kevin Law, and Owen is also in that program as well. They design up there. They can put it on a what's called a P drive, and we can pull up the P drive here and then run from that point. Also, it's you can use images. I got some new software that we're going to talk about later, is taking images off computers and being able to be able to cut out here.
And this thing can cut from stuff this thin to up to an inch thick metal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
We had a student last spring that designed and built, a couple of them built this hood for it, so that was pretty cool too. So anyway, because he's got to go to class, I wanted to show you, back up and show you Lonnie's bend test,
Okay.
and we'll come back to you.
Okay.
So normally when I do this, I do a dry pass, which makes sure that I won't go over the metal and I will not damage the actual machine, because this machine is, again, pretty expensive.
Sure.
But I've already done the dry run, so I'm going to do the hot run. What that means is, now that I have my ground here, as soon as it registers the metal, it will come up and it will shoot plasma through with compressed air through, and it will cut through this metal like butter.
And what to kind of define a little bit what he says, plasma is coming through a plasma electrode, and then it goes into a nozzle, which is a real small, tiny hole. So it's condensing this plasma or this arc down to real small, and the use of air, that's the noise you're going to hear, is that air shooting it down through it, and it just pierces and a very fine cut. So you can see, like the old buffalo here, we've made a bunch of those for people, and you can see that we didn't deburr this. This is actual cut.
Wow. Man, that's a fine cut on it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is a bright arc, so it's recommended that you do not stare directly at it.
Okay, thank you.
You got glasses? Mm. Oh, he got y'all some glasses. Awesome. You're on top of your game today, yeah?
I always do. Okay, we start.
Oh, check on my class.
All set up on the computer, you can pretty much make it do whatever you want on this one. Normally, if I master the part, I can tell this machine to make 7 of them at the same time. So you will fill up the entire sheet with minimal weight, and it does it pretty fast. The thing that's by hand will be an hour, 2 hours of fine detail. With this, it's telling me 4 minutes to finish this entire part. Wow, that's great. This is the program that we use to be able to pretty much tell it how to cut each thing. So I will open a code. We have all these other ones. And I will do a Harley Davidson with wings. It pulls up. and right here you have the part. It won't know how to cut it. It has no idea. So I have to use all these commands up here that tells it pretty much how it wants me to cut. And every time I do something correctly and there's no errors, it will show in a red line what it's going to cut. Now it also does it in sequence, which means that each part that I cut out, it basically will do it in whichever way I click on it. So I have to go through each one and manually make sure that they're going to cut out the sequence that I want them to.
Wow. And so that whole piece that you were cutting there, you said 4 minutes to do that?
4 minutes.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is. This one normally takes 10 to 12, and this is a 32-inch by 12-inch piece. So it's a pretty big piece.
Now, are you designing these out in Mr. Law's class?
I have.
And then bringing them down to here for the cuts?
Yep.
And your wheels will be turning thinking of something to make you now, won't it?
Oh yeah, I've already got all kinds of ideas.
We sold some things at the Arts and Crafts Show.
Yeah.
We'll do more next year. We're kind of newbies at this, so we're learning. But you know, and I'll be honest with you, these kids like Owen,
man.
you know, they're the new millenniums. They know how to do this.
Sure.
You know, they're training me actually. So
Yeah.
here's before he bent it out of place. Right here's. You know, things we do for the community. This was a shim for a transmission for Mark Vi's Truck and Tractor.
Right.
He called over and needed it right away, and so you know we made a.
That is cool.
Kind of like, you know, we're not out to compete with and there's other people that do this kind of thing. I don't know if there's I think there's one in Floyd County maybe that does some. We don't try to compete with them, but absolutely, you know, if we can cover our cost, like you know, steel, that's about a $30 sheet right there. So I've got more than just Owen that run it, so you can imagine how much money that is.
Sure.
That we go through. So you know, we have expense accounts, but this shop far precedes our expense account. Right. Without, you know, saying anything
great.
negative. But anyway, so to answer your question, if you wanted something made, if you wanted a Harley Davidson signs or whatever, then I would say, okay, yeah, you know, if you cover our costs, we need $30. And anything over that, I always tell people, you know, if you feel like you want to donate more to the program, we always accept donations, but I don't charge for profit. Materials, consumables, metals, welding rods, everything, we're between $15,000 and $20,000 a year to run this program. So, you know, we have to dig and paw, and
Sure.
you know, we've got support from, I mean, I could name off the steel mill, run it, Steel Dynamics. Floyd's full of people that work down there. A good friend of mine, Tommy, he's a supervisor down there. He gets us about $10,000 to $15,000 worth of metal a year from down there, and you know, we just go pick it up, and you know, it's brand new metal, and that's how we survive.
Yeah, that's great. So, that is great.
You know, these machines you're looking at, that's an $8,000 machine. Wow. Things here about $6,000. So it's pretty much the most expensive lab we've got here in the high school. We've been really fortunate to have donations. The college, when they upgrade their equipment over at New River Community College, they always call me and see what I need. So that's where a lot of this came from. The Pipe Fitters Union out of Roanoke has donated thousands of dollars worth of equipment in here.
That is great. Now, what's he working on here? What's this equipment?
This is called gas tungsten arc welding, or they used to be called years ago heliarc, back when I was young. That's been a long time ago. But basically what you do, you're creating an arc with a piece of tungsten, creating an arc, and you're taking a filler wire, and you're feeding the filler wire in to create a welding bead. And this is used a lot for medical purposes. It's real clean. Bacteria doesn't tend to build up as bad because it's nice and flat. It's a good clean weld. So all your medical equipment, cafeterias, that type of thing, most of that's been welded with a TIG machine. Sean here, he's took a big interest in this TIG welding, and he's doing a really good job. This is aluminum here. Aluminum is hard to do, and to lay the patterns, you know, how consistent, you know, his patterns are on that. That's pretty cool. So right here, what we're doing here is the plasma machine in here is CNC machine. It actually cut out these letters, and it's going to say Hall of Fame in a new gym. You've seen the induction of Hall of Fame they did.
Yeah.
So they want to put all the plaques or all the pictures of the Hall of Fame guys in there. So Barry wanted it to say Hall of Fame in there on the new gym. So the machine did everything. It cut the holes. It did everything. Owen, he kind of took that and mastered that part of it. Between him and our engineering teacher, Mr. Law, they designed all these letters.
Okay. So are they just cleaning them up to get ready to paint? Is that what the next step is?
Yeah, they've got surface rust on them, and metal comes in with a gray area, looks like mill scale on it. They want to try to cut that up just a little bit so the paint will stick to it better. But right here, I'm partnering up with the tourism of Floyd. These are bike racks that'll be throughout our town. This one will go somewhere around the courthouse where they can pull their bicycles up and chain them to it. There's no place for people that ride bikes, to lock their bikes up. So this is the first one, kind of a prototype for them. It'll go to Crenshaw Lighting. Crenshaw will powder coat it. And of course, I've got to put, Owen or somebody will go inside the wheel, and it'll have Floyd Welding Department in the year it was made. So we'll identify these things.
Absolutely.
Down at Red Rooster, we're designing right now. Right in front of Red Rooster will be about a 4-foot coffee cup, and then about a 4-foot coffee pot.
Wow.
There.
That's great.
Made off part of it will be made off that machine in there, and part of it rolled out of pipe. And
so is that what you're doing here? Are you rolling this pipe to make that?
Yeah.
Just bending it and continually bending it?
We don't have that equipment yet. So Patrick Daly, Crenshaw Lighting, he tells me, hey, come in here anytime, use my equipment for whatever you need. He's very, very good help. He gives us donations, but he's got a machine down there that is consistently, constantly roll it all the way through the whole thing. So it works pretty good.
Yeah.
So the spokes right there are made out of rebar.
Right. It's very cool.
Yeah. So then we talked about testing. One of our students here, name's Daniel Rohr, he had to go down and do a nuclear repair job in Florida. And so when he gets down there, this is you can see the writing on there. This is a coded test. He had to weld these two pieces of pipe together, and it was x-rayed before he was allowed to go on the job. And so once he's passed his x-ray, he was able to go in and do repairs at the nuclear repair plant. And let me tell you, he makes the healthiest income from that.
Now Daniel travels all over the world, doesn't he?
Yeah, him and Elliot both now have been to, I think Elliot's back in Denmark right now. I know Daniel's been there twice.
Right.
They've been to France.
They were in Belgium, isn't that right?
Not Denmark, Belgium. I don't know what I was thinking about. Belgium. That's Elliot's in Belgium right now.
Right.
I talked to him last week. It was pretty neat. He works down in Lynchburg for a company that trains. And he's working for the union, but anyway, he works down there. He is a trainer. So he takes a team of professionals, and they practice and simulate what they're got to do when they go out on a job site. And they've got to get it down to the minutes and how long it's going to take, because they got to shut this power plant down. And what I was told, it takes like $1 million every 24 hours to keep this thing down.
Wow.
So they know exactly. They tell the customer, we're going to repair that in exactly 10 hours, 15 minutes, because they know they can do that.
That's impressive.
So he's a trainer now, and Elliot's been doing this for years. And once he gets that down, his crew flew over, and that's where they're at right now doing this repair.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then there's some of the stuff we made there. I don't know. It's robotic stuff. Different things. But robots welded this. A company did that for us back last fall. Here's some of the cutouts we've made. This was a water jet. Same scenario as that right there. This was done at New River College. Kind of a little trophy case.
Yeah.
So that's everything, I guess, in here. You got some different ones here.